Your dog's food bowl is doing more damage than you realize. Not the food inside it, the bowl itself, the ritual around it, the way it sits in the corner of the kitchen, in the same spot, at the same time, with the same contents poured in by the same hands in the same motion every single day. That ritual, which you probably inherited without thinking, is one of the most underutilized training opportunities of the day. And the way most owners handle it is quietly working against the dog they are trying to raise. Feeding is not a transaction. It is not a chore. It is the single most repeated, highest value interaction you will ever have with your dog. And if you treat it the way most people do, you are wasting it. This video is going to explain exactly what you are missing.
What the food bowl is actually teaching your dog, and how to turn the 10 minutes around every meal into something that builds a calmer, more regulated, more connected dog. 7 sections. Start from the beginning. Before anything else, you have to understand one fact that changes how you think about every meal for the rest of your dog's life. Dogs are not built to eat out of a bowl. A wolf, a coyote, a feral dog, a street dog, none of them eat from a static dish. They hunt, they scavenge, they chew, they dig, they work for food. Their brain is wired for the search, the problem, the effort of obtaining nutrition. Every meal is an engagement of the nose, the paws, the teeth, the entire animal. Your dog, who shares 99% of its DNA with a wolf, is eating from a ceramic bowl that appears full on the floor twice a day for no effort. The calories are right, the nutrition is complete, but the entire biological and psychological machinery built into that dog for obtaining food is being completely bypassed. This is why so many dogs seem restless, bored, and understimulated despite being fed well and walked daily. The single most consistent mental activity in a wild dog's life has been surgically removed from their routine, and nothing has replaced it. The bowl is not evil, but the bowl alone as the entire food delivery system of your dog's life is lazy design, and your dog is paying for it in behavior. Once you accept this, everything else in this video makes sense. Second, free feeding is one of the most damaging habits in modern dog ownership, and most people who do it do not know what it is costing them. Free feeding means leaving food out all day, letting the dog graze whenever they want. Owners do this because it seems kind. The dog can eat when they feel like it. They do not have to wait. They do not have to beg. Here is what actually happens inside a free-fed dog's life. First, food stops being meaningful. When something is always available, it loses its value. Your dog's relationship to food becomes ambivalent. The bowl is background. Nothing is urgent. This sounds fine until you try to use food as a training reward and your dog refuses it. Because why would they work for something that is always in the corner of the kitchen for free? Second, you lose the ability to monitor appetite. A dog who is sick shows it first in their eating. A dog who eats all at once at a known time is a dog whose owner notices the day the dog does not finish their bowl. A free-fed dog's owner might not notice for 3 days that something is wrong. By the time the weight drops, you are further into the problem than you had to be. Third, you lose the structure. Scheduled meals create rhythm in a dog's life. They anchor the day. They give you moments of training, connection, and ritual. Free feeding takes all of that away and replaces it with nothing. The fix is simple. 2 meals a day for adult dogs at roughly the same time. Food goes down, the dog eats. What is not eaten within 15 minutes comes up and is put away until the next meal. This seems harsh for about 1 day. By day 3, your dog is eating on schedule, paying attention to food, and available for the training opportunities food provides. No healthy dog will starve themselves. They will figure out the new system faster than you think. Third section, the pre-meal chaos that most owners have trained without knowing. Here is what happens in most households around 6:00 in the evening. The owner approaches the food container. The dog hears the lid. The dog starts vocalizing. The dog begins to jump, spin, bark, or press against the owner. The owner, trying to manage the chaos, talks to the dog, reassures them, asks them to sit, but they cannot hold it. The owner keeps working through the noise, scoops the food, puts it in the bowl, and sets it down while the dog is still in full arousal. Over months and years, here is what that dog has learned. The sound of the food container means the best moment of the day is coming. Maximum arousal is allowed. Noise is allowed. Jumping is allowed. Eventually, the bowl appears and the game is won. What you have trained is that high arousal behavior produces food every single meal, twice a day, 7 days a week. You have created the most consistent training session of your dog's life, and the behavior you are installing is chaos. The fix is systematic and it works quickly. The rule becomes the food does not move while the dog is over-aroused, not even a scoop. You walk to the food container. The dog spins and barks. You stop. You stand still. You do not speak. The dog, confused, continues briefly, then reduces the intensity because the usual next step is not happening. The moment the dog is slightly calmer, even for 2 seconds, you move again. Scoop. If they spin again, you stop. The bowl lowers only when the dog is fully calm, not sitting by command, genuinely calm. The first few meals take 10 or 15 minutes instead of 1. By the end of the first week, most dogs are standing still, watching quietly, waiting. Within a month, your dog is a dog who hears the bag and goes to lie down on their bed because they have learned that calm is the fastest path to the bowl. You have taken the most frantic 5 minutes of the day and converted it into a regulation practice that happens twice a day, every day for the rest of their life. Fourth section, the work for food principle. Here is a rule that transforms nearly every dog who is introduced to it. Your dog does not need the bowl. Your dog needs the food. Those are two different things. Once you decouple food from bowl, the options open up. Some meals can be puzzle feeders. The dog pushes, nudges, tips, and figures out how to release kibble from a plastic toy. 20 minutes of focused problem-solving work. The dog arrives at the end of the meal mentally tired, calm, and satisfied in a way no bowl has ever produced. Some meals can be scatter feeding. You take a portion and toss it across the grass in the yard or across a rug in the living room. The dog spends 15 minutes nose down, working the ground, using the scent system that is the most developed part of their brain. A scatter-fed meal is the cheapest, most effective mental workout available to any dog owner. It costs nothing, requires no equipment, and leaves the dog profoundly calm afterward. Some meals can be hand-fed during short training sessions. 5 minutes of sits, downs, paw targets, or recall practice, paid for by kibble. A dog who earns their dinner is a dog whose bond with the person feeding them is deepened by that exchange. Owners who hand-feed even 1 meal a week find their dogs more responsive in every other context. Some meals can be frozen Kongs or stuffed Topple toys, which turn a 5-minute meal into a 30-minute activity and leave the dog lying on their bed afterward, fully settled. 1 meal a day can still be a bowl if you want. That is fine. But when all meals are bowl meals, you are leaving enormous value on the table. A dog whose food is delivered through varied, thinking-based methods is a dog who is fulfilled in a way that no walk, no toy, no bed, and no affection can fully replicate. The food you already buy is the most powerful training tool you own. Most owners hand it over for free twice a day and then wonder why their dog is restless. Fifth section, multi-dog households and where resource guarding actually begins. If you have more than 1 dog, the feeding ritual is the single most important interaction of the day for their relationship with each other and with you. Here is what commonly goes wrong. Both dogs are fed in the same area. One dog finishes first. They wander over to the other dog's bowl. The second dog notices. Now there is tension with food. The faster dog is told off and pulled away. The slower dog is left to finish, but has now noticed that eating can be interrupted. Both dogs are learning at every meal that food is a contested resource that requires vigilance. Within months, one or both dogs may show the beginnings of resource guarding, stiffening over the bowl, snapping if another dog or a human comes too close, eating too fast to finish before it can be taken. Resource guarding is not a character flaw. It is a rational response to a system that has told the dog repeatedly that food is unsafe. The fix is absolute separation at meals. Each dog eats in a different room or in a crate or at minimum at opposite ends of a large space with a clear barrier. Each dog is completely left alone during the meal. No one walks past. No one reaches toward the bowl. No one attempts to add anything, pet the dog, or interrupt. When each dog has finished, the bowls are picked up. No bowls are left out for the faster dog to investigate. The meal is done. Every dog has eaten in peace. There is no competition. There is no vigilance. There is no reason to guard. Dogs fed this way from the start do not develop guarding around food. Dogs who already guard can be walked back to calm over months by rebuilding the feeding ritual around safety first. 6. What to do if your dog already guards their bowl. Resource guarding in a dog who currently has it is not going to be solved in a week, but it can be managed immediately while the long-term work happens, and the management starts with one rule. Nobody approaches the bowl during a meal ever. Not you, not children, not other dogs. The dog is given privacy. The bowl goes down, the door closes, or the space is cleared. The dog eats. When they are finished, the bowl is picked up. This does two things. It prevents the guarding from being triggered, which prevents it from getting worse, and it sends the dog the message at every single meal that food is safe in this house. Over time, that message reshapes the nervous system's response to food. The long-term rehabilitation involves a specific counter-conditioning protocol. You sit at a distance. You toss an even better food, a piece of meat, into the bowl from several feet away. You walk away. You repeat this hundreds of times over months. The dog learns that human approach means bonus food, not loss. This works. It does not work quickly. That is the single most effective way to create a dog who bites over food. Old school advice on this topic has produced a generation of guarded dogs. Do not repeat it. 7th, the weekly feeding pattern that covers everything. Here is what a balanced feeding week can look like for an adult dog of any breed. Monday, morning meal in a puzzle feeder. Evening meal hand-fed during a 5-minute training session. Tuesday, morning meal scattered across the backyard. Evening meal in a stuffed frozen calm. Wednesday, morning meal as a standard bowl eaten in calm conditions. Evening meal inside a snuffle mat in the living room. Thursday, morning meal scattered across a rug. Evening meal hand-fed during a trick training session. Friday, morning meal in a puzzle feeder. Evening meal as a bowl meal calmly. Saturday, morning meal as a search activity with portions hidden around the house. Evening meal as a bowl meal with 15 minutes of chew time afterward. Sunday, both meals simple and restful bowl meals. Let the dog have a quiet food day. The dog in this rotation is getting everything a dog's brain is asking for. Problem solving, scent work, training connection, slow chewing, predictability on some days, novelty on others. The food is no longer a task. It is the spine of the dog's enrichment. Owners who feed this way consistently report the same thing over and over. The dog is calmer. The dog sleeps better. The dog settles more easily. Behavior problems that seemed unrelated to food start to shrink because the dog, for the first time, is having their actual needs met through the one thing they were already going to do twice a day anyway. Stop free feeding. Wait for calm before the bowl goes down. Use food as training and enrichment across the week. Feed multi-dog households in complete separation. Never take a bowl away from a guarding dog. Rotate your delivery methods. The bowl is a tool, not a ritual, not a sacred object. The relationship you build with your dog around food is either making them better or making them restless. It is rarely neutral. If this video helped you understand why the food bowl matters more than you thought, the companion channel Canine Mind goes deeper into the psychology of food, resource guarding, and what scarcity looks like inside a dog's brain, even when they live in a house full of food. The how lives on Canine Dog Talk. The why lives on Canine Mind. Subscribe there next. And subscribe here if you have not already. New videos every week. The Complete Dog Owner's Guide playlist is building into the only series you will need to raise the dog you actually wanted.